Hi, my name is Nathan, and today we're going to do a comic book review of Carnage, issue number 2, brought to you by Rated Comics. Let's get to it. We begin this issue where we previously left off in issue number 1. The Carnage symbiote is brutally splitting up Hydro Man apart and absorbing one of his molecules. We don't know what Carnage is truly after. Carnage tells Kenneth what he learned from his previous host CLETUS. Serial killers often have a fascination with taking something of a trophy from their victims. He asks Kenneth if he takes trophies. He responds with that he does take pictures of his victims before and after as a memory of their transformation. But that transformation is not limited to the victim, says Carnage. For instance, the piece he's taken from Hydro Man is power that made him water. Now Carnage takes that piece and combines it within himself, and in doing so, he's changing. A trophy, if you will, of transformation. Consider a form of symbiosis, says Carnage. He continues to say this is what made CLETUS a good host. He was always interested in peering inside people in more ways than literal. He wanted to get inside their heads. So Carnage asks Kenneth, why should he take a host that doesn't fully understand his own endeavors? Before he can respond, Detective Jonathan Shade gets caught in the crossfire, which gets Carnage curious. A man who saw certain doom ahead and still chose to be transformed by it in pursuit of a greater desire, Detective Shade's endeavor to capture the artist is worthy of Carnage's admiration. Carnage notices that what he and Detective Shade have in common is to see where limits truly lie. So Carnage begins to bond with him, and part of the symbiote that still possesses CLETUS Kasady's memories. Carnage's final words to the detective: if you truly want all that you pursue, show me how far you are willing to go. It's like a game to Carnage. Like Carnage, Shade is on a quest, but where the symbiote is seeking its identity, Shade is seeking to bring it and the artist to justice. And the fusion with the symbiote only spells trouble. Carnage already warned us as the readers that a serial killer like CLETUS will often work their way into people's heads and twist them into acting on the killer's behalf. With Shade, he literally has a serial killer's memories in his mind, and anyone who knows a little bit about Carnage can tell you that those aren't very nice thoughts to have rattling around in your head. But Kasady's memories may prove to be more of a hindrance than a help. Shade wakes up from the hospital bed and it's Detective Booth at his side. Booth asks what happened out there. When we found you, it was like you had been an explosion and you were in a pool of water and blood. John interrupts Booth by saying Carnage. It was Carnage, but I don't think Booth heard him. When asked if he found the artist, John doesn't remember. As much of a mystery Carnage is it possible John is withholding that information? John Shade adds that Ken Neely was there and he can't remember clearly. It's all a bit of a blur. Booth accepts that and tells John take it easy for a while, that he's been in a coma for 2 days. The doctors say that you're physically fine but can't pin down a cause, so they want to do more evaluation. This makes Shade livid as he wants to get back out there and get his guy. Not to mention the blood and guts found on the scene belongs to Secret Service as they came in and took all the files. Booth tells him that the chief blames you for all that, so sit back and recover, and he'll keep him in the loop when he tracks down John's guy. After Booth leaves, he realizes that 2 days in a coma and the only person that came to see him was Booth? Physically, he feels fine. Shade feels like the doctor stitched him together better than he had imagined. But what this thing is doing to him, it feels like it's writhing, plushing aside all of his blood vessels, clawing at tissue, gnawing at it. He feels alive in all of his teeth, like he could chew through leather and muscle and bone. He's going through all his emotions and feelings, memories that don't belong to him. He's seeing CLETUS Kasady's memories and feelings that he's overcome with the sudden urge to thrust his hands into still living flesh so he can feel the convulsing warmth within. Just for a moment, he wondered what it would be like to eat the meat of someone he knew. And he's begging for it to stop, but he's going through all these emotions. It's just tearing him apart, so to speak. When a nurse goes into the hospital to check on Mr. Shade if everything is alright, he fled the scene. And he's on top of the hospital building. And he's like, Carnage did not just stitch him up and put him right. By design or not, his body is changing, muscles pushing further, heart pumping on overdrive. His brain feels like a mainlining adrenaline straight into his frontal cortex. He has memories and recollections of CLETUS Kasady, garbled mess of blood and death and depravity, but it's all there. And the last thing he remembers the symbiote saying to him was, show me how far you're willing to go, the symbiote said. He's faster and stronger than he ever was, and he's got the world's most notorious serial killer in his head. It'll cost him, he knows, but he feels like he's embracing it in a weird way. In the motel, Ken is having a conversation with Carnage. When you told the detective that you and him are on a similar journey, what does that mean? I mean, you gotta clarify that. And then Carnage is like, look, I know I sense jealousy in you, but if anything, you little pup, you should be flattered. It is for you that he mangles himself. Don't you see? You are his dark mirror. He looks into the glass, hoping to see himself, and all he sees is you, and he loathes himself for it. And he knows this all too well. In that pursuit, he and I are together. And Carnage continues to explain, all he's done is give the detective the ability to reach through the glass. Now he knows he has all that he needs to overcome you, and that knowledge will change him forever. So Ken is like, so you spur him on so he can cut me up into pieces, give myself up so he can destroy me? Oh no, says Carnage, not to destroy you, to transform. See, look at what you do, Ken. These victims right here, you spend all your time seeking beauty and transformation for your victims, but you remain the same, old and useless and just a whiny little piece of person. And Ken is like, no, please, I want to be worthy. Make me understand what you're talking about. He's like, okay, well, I'll take you to my next victim. Here, come with me and witness my next kill. So when Booth comes back to his apartment, he is surprised to see that Detective John Shade is looking at him. He's like, whoa, man, you gave me a heart attack. And John's like, look, I know you took your work home with you, but everything's coming together. It was Hydro Man. The blood you found at the scene was Hydro Man. There was a symbiote there and that said his name, so that's why there's water. And Booth is like, I thought you didn't remember what happened. It's all coming back to me and some. So yeah, Hydro Man is some top secret classified clearance level Omega kind of stuff. So that's why Secret Service was there. They're working together, Booth, the artist and the symbiote, feeding off each other, nearly as a fan looking for the approval. And what about the symbiote, says Booth, looking for something else. So Shade is like, okay, well, the symbiote is running the show now. If we find it, we'll find our guy. And the symbiote is trying to find a way to change, to alter itself, become something else, something more. Hydro Man was just the first. The first, says Booth? Yeah, the first. We got a serial killer symbiote on our hands. And it's going after supers who have powers at it once. And that's where we end this issue with Carnage's next victim. And I don't know who that brother is, but my opinion, this book is very, very enjoyable as a mystery to be solved. Why is Carnage messing with these people, and what is his end goal? How can he absorb the powers of supervillains? What could Carnage's meddling with these humans mean for his own personality and growth? The artist, of course, listens to Carnage and likes how he thinks, while John isn't so sure. As you try to solve the problem, it's interesting to see how good guy and the bad guy reacts to things. And I am in on this issue and how this is going to end and what the further story is. Just when you thought you couldn't get a plot twist, you got a plot twist when Carnage bonded to John Shade instead of to the artist Ken Neely, and I think that is super gangster and interesting storytelling right there. Link in description if you wish to add this comic book to your comic book collection. With that being said, Carnage issue number 2. What you guys think of the comic book? Comment below, let me know. And also, if you like the content, we'll throw it up. You know what to do. Don't be shy and don't be stingy. Here at Rated Comics, we do awesome comic book reviews, comic book related content with the occasional comic book giveaway. And also, don't forget to follow us on What's Not, because we will be doing some auctions and some giveaways, announcements to come. Thanks again for watching. Until next time.